Okay, welcome to our show Conversations. We're going to be doing part 2 of Women Narcissists. Let me just go ahead and do my disclaimer really quickly before I get started. The things that I'm going to talk about within this Women Narcissistic part 2 video, I'm going to approach it more so on a karmic, spiritual, financial, mental, abusive level, okay? And I'm probably going to say things that you probably, don't normally hear, or nobody ever broke it down like that, but you know that the energy exists like that because you see the disappointment, the failures, the disaster, the destruction that so many men experience when they come across a woman narcissist, okay? So I'm gonna definitely communicate this message. I mean, I know that, there may be some women narcissists who the things that I may say, they may not like, and that's okay, because I'm going to approach this as if I'm talking to my son, because I do have a son, okay? He's going to be 17 years old, okay? So he's going towards a direction of, girlfriendhood, and then before you know it, because time flies, okay? Time flies. Before you know it, he'll be off doing his own thing, and he'll be in relationships, okay, with a variety of different women, okay? And, he'll have his experiences like we all have, as we have grown older and, went through relationship experiences. Some of us get married, some of us don't, some of us have children with people, we're not connected. A lot of people are going through things with their relationships. And if you get hooked up in a fucked up relationship, then it could destroy you on many different levels, okay? I mean, so hopefully we got that cleared out. So, we're going to be approaching this conversation, and we're going to be talking about women narcissists. We're going to be talking about the signs. We're going to be talking about the damage that's done. We're going to be talking about it on a spiritual level, and how if you don't recognize how damaging, how dangerous, and how debilitating this type of energy is, it will destroy you, okay? And it's designed to destroy you from the inside and out. And when I say inside, I mean spiritually, okay? And like I told you guys, I mean, ever since I started this channel, I can honestly say, and I always talk about my summertime, but the reason why I talk about the summertime, because the summertime, the experience that I experienced, that was something that I went through that, if I wasn't wise enough, if I wasn't aware about what was going on, it could have destroyed me and a lot of people around me. But due to the fact that I was able to go into astrology, see what's going on, look at the energy, and, look at the darkness. Because, a lot of people in life, they like to show you the light. They love to show you the good side. They love to put on a show for folk. And they like to show you what they want you to see, but you don't know what the fuck is going on. See, what you see is not what you're going to get, because you don't know that person. And unfortunately, a lot of men, they get themselves in situations where they're caught up with these women narcs. And they're in it so deep that they can't get out of it. Okay? And it's embarrassing to talk about it with your homeboys. It's embarrassing to share it with the women in your family, your mother, etc. Because it's so disrespectful that if you go and tell somebody what's up, they're going to be like, yo, why are you still fucking with her? But see, a lot of people don't understand. See, a lot of these relationships that people are getting caught up in, once you have sex with somebody, this is what I believe, okay? Once you have sex with somebody, especially if it's karmic, you can get spiritually bonded with that person. And even though you see the signs, even though you've been disrespected to the maximum, even though, if you break out, you might be a little bit better off in life, but you can't, because there's some type of spiritual connection that you have with this person. that keeps drawing you back in. And even though it's destroying you, you can't get out of it. And that's why I posted that video, that woman narcissist video, because everything that I'm about to talk about is a classic, damn near textbook example and visual of what a narcissistic woman is like, and how even though the situation has gotten so bad, it's still a struggle, still fighting. And you know, I have women narcissists in my family. You know, for many years I've been going through things, and I went through some things. Okay, I went through some major things. I mean, I don't know if it was because of my Saturn return or whatever, but I think I'm over that. You know, hopefully I am, because before, you know, when I was, you know, the Saturn kicked my ass, and I was spiritually, you know, going through things. And, you know, if it wasn't for the angels, if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for prayer, if it wasn't for people, if it wasn't for information, then I probably wouldn't even be here sitting talking to you right now, because that's how dangerous and damaging it was. So finding out the information about women narcissists, let me tell you something. The only thing that it's going to do is heal you. See, narcissistic people, they're sneaky. They're vindictive. They're mental manipulators. They're always planning. They always have something up their sleeve, and they feel entitled. Okay, they criticize people. They're always right. They never want to listen. Everything is about them. They're selfish. Okay, they want access to everything while you have nothing. Okay, when you hear the word narcissism, where anytime I hear somebody says narcissist, the only thing I can think of is the devil. Because when you're dealing with the devil, it's never ending. What is next? And just when you think that you got them, something else comes up and they get you another way. But see, a lot of people are approaching it on the psychological level, which is great, and the physical level. But once you start to approach it on the spiritual level, and you start to recognize the energy, and you see these traits, and you recognize what it is, then you can make decisions. You can make decisions. Do you want to continue? And if you do continue because of whatever the situation is, because we just got to get ahead and keep it all the way 1,000. I mean, a lot of people be like, oh, but why don't you just leave? Or, you know, why don't you just get out of it and all this? Look, it's not that fucking easy when you're hooked up with a narc. Okay, especially if you have children with them. Because if you're a man and you have children with a narcissistic woman and things don't work out, you know she can take you to the cleaners. We all know this. She could take your ass to the bank and cash you out. And there's nothing that you can do about it, because we all know that the system is on the side of women. So we know this. I mean, I don't know why we have to pretend. You know what I'm saying? And I know that a lot of people will get upset with me because of that, but it's true. And if you have a narcissistic woman that you're dealing with and she knows about the system, she could ride your ass. So I'm approaching this as if I'm talking to my son. I'm approaching this as if I'm talking to the brothers in my family, the men in my family. So this is how I'm approaching it. So, you know, and it's hard for me to even talk about this because I'm a woman. And it's like, you know. But hey. So, like I was explaining in my last video, if you're a man and you get hooked up with a narcissistic woman, and before the narc, you know, you had a car, you had a house, you had money in the bank, you had good credit, you know, you had a good life, you will find that after you get with that narcissist, that if you don't get out in time, it's going to be a total collapse. Okay? Narcissists are spiritual abusers. They're trauma bonders who are skilled at binding you up with abuse. They often have huge fights. They are filled with envy. And, like I explained in my other video, when you're going through this kind of abuse and you're going through this kind of mental manipulation, it causes stress. And when you're dealing with stress, it releases certain chemicals within the body, like oxytocin and adrenaline, that it's like a high. Okay? And even though it's not good, it's addicting, that feeling. And it's addicting because when you go through all these huge fights, these arguments, all this abuse, all the slander and everything like that, sometimes, depending on the kind of narc that you're dealing with, you have make-up sex. Okay? So when you're dealing with make-up sex and you're going through the cycle of abuse, it's abuse and then reward. It's abuse, then conditioning. Okay? And, you'll find that, even some men, unfortunately, if they are not, or they haven't been able to get themselves in a position of authority or a position of stability, then they may find themselves hooked up with women. And, God forbid, if you're with a woman who's a narcissist, then you might find that you're often getting kicked out the house for any little thing. An argument would come up. Then before you know it, she's like, get the fuck out! Get the fuck out of my house. Or I'm calling the cops. And this happens over and over and over and over again. So, if you're dealing with a narcissist, know that they're sneaky. Know that they're vindictive. And if you're not careful, you will. Whether you're a man or a woman, I'm gonna do the men narcissists too, because it ain't gonna just be doing women. I'm gonna break down, but I'm gonna do the men. But we're doing women right now. But if you get hooked up with a narcissist, know that you're going to experience extreme pain that you can't explain. And narcissists, they don't really want you to have a voice. They don't want you to talk about it. See, talking about it is therapy. Talking about what you're going through is recognizing it, seeing it for what it is, releasing the energy, and, coming up with another plan. They don't want you to talk about it. They don't want you to recognize it. They don't want to confront what's going on. They would rather you go through extreme pain so you can fall into deep depression. You can feel ashamed. You'll have trouble sleeping at night. You'll be broke. You'll have anxiety. You'll be scared to speak your mind due to embarrassment of what's really going on behind closed doors. So if you get hooked up with a narcissist, you may find that, unfortunately, it is saying, this is not something that I'm making up, but it is saying that you may find yourself abusing alcohol, driving drunk, going to jail, smoking a lot of cigarettes, doing drugs. You're worried all the time. You're depressed. You're stressed out. You're stressed out, but you're addicted to this woman. You're stressed out, but you love this woman. You're stressed out. You can't get ahead. You're a victim. You're abused. And I know that to be true because the video that I just posted, if you go and see it, I know that video, I think they had to make it go faster or whatever because it was like a copyright thing or whatever. So I'm trying to find the original one. I know it's on own.com, but I don't see the original one. I have to keep looking to see if I can put the post in there. So you can look at the full review of what a narcissistic woman is like. And, as a victim, if you're a man, you may find that, it's highly likely that you may start drinking a lot and doing things to cope with the pain that the abuser knows and sees what you're going through. They know what they're doing because they're sneaky and they're vindictive. And they always got tricks up their sleeve. They know what the fuck they're doing. Narcissists do shit to put you in pain. And the deeper you are in pain, the more they feel elevated. See, that's the energy exchange. That's what I've been talking about. The more you go down, the more they go up. The more you're fucked up, the more they go up. The more you ain't shit, the more they go up. That's how spiritual exchanges work. That's how the exchange is. If you're poor, I'm rich. If you're good, I'm bad. See, that it has to be like that. The more I look at all this narcissism and everybody's flocking to these videos and they're listening to video after video, 10 minutes here. Okay, this is what the narcissist is doing. Look, if we want to do that and talk about every 10 minutes what narcissist is doing, how they gaslight you, how they mentally abuse you, how they hold sex back, how they call the cops, how they put you in jail, they take the kids, you're on child support, you're fucked up. I could do 1,000 videos like that in 1 week, 10 minutes each time. But the truth is, it don't matter. This energy is demonic. Nothing surprises. You're worried all the time. So, if you're dealing with a narcissist, the sad part about it all, the sad part about this all, man, and I'm telling you, this is something that I researched, and I looked up, and I was reading stories, from other men who, have experienced, going through a divorce with a narcissistic woman. Unfortunately, they're incarcerated because of a narcissistic woman. They're on child support. There, how many stories that are out there right now with men who are paying child support for kids that are not even fucking theirs? They're not even theirs. The DNA test proved that the child ain't theirs. And still they gotta pay child support? That's spiritual. That's spiritual. There's a man on YouTube right now. I gotta find the video. Maybe I'll post it in the link. But there's a man right now who, I think he had like a few dates with the woman or whatever. And the woman was pregnant before she got with him. But they had sex unprotected. And then she had a baby. And I think, he went to the hospital. He signed his name on a certificate. And then, he didn't really get along with the lady. It was just a sex thing, a one night stand kind of thing. He got caught up. But just because his name is on the certificate, and even though she even told the judge herself, like, look, this ain't the father. The child don't look nothing like him. Let this man go. The judge was like, nope, he still owed $50,000. And even though he didn't marry you, he's still going to pay. This man has gotten locked up. This man, he can't get a job. He is totally on his back, on his belly in life, trying to rise up out of the spiritual bondage that he caught himself in because he had a couple of, sessions with some lady he didn't really needed to be with from the jump. But he got to pay. And even though proof is there that that kid ain't his, he still got to pay. To me, that's spiritual bondage right there. That's some karmic shit that he has to go through. Who knows what happened in the past? And I believe in past life at this point, especially after doing some astrology reports and I started looking into the energy and, I'm looking at my life and I'm looking at the synchronicities of everything that's going on in my cipher. And I'm like, you know what? This got to be karmic. And I believe if you're hooked up with a narcissistic woman, it's karmic. And I'm not saying that it's your fault while you're hooked up with this energy, because it's not. Maybe it's not. But is it because maybe in a past life, maybe one was a narcissist? And now in this life, you have to experience somebody who's a narcissist, and you have to experience the pain of what you may have put somebody else through in a past life. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's what's happening. Or maybe, you're going to go through the narcissistic energy in this life. And then maybe, if you believe in past life, maybe in another life you won't have a narcissistic wife. You won't have a narcissistic girlfriend. You won't go through all the trials and tribulations that you're going through right now. And you'll be able to overcome. You stood the test of time. And maybe in another life you'll have a different life. So if you look at it on the spiritual level and you look at it on that way, that's how I'm looking at it. Because I'm like, why would an empath, why would somebody who is intuitive be hooked up with somebody like this? You know what I mean? Who's doing nothing but bringing them down. But I can tell you that once you go through such a storm, okay, even while you're in the midst of the storm, the transformation that you go through is one of a lifetime experience that you'll never forget, and there's no going back. When you're dealing with a narcissist, understand that you never ever get out what you put in. Never. You're never going to be the same person that you were before meeting a narcissist. That's a guarantee. Okay, you're going to lose. Whether that's losing financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, whatever, you're going to lose when you're dealing with this energy. There's no winning this. But you can win once you recognize. See, the devil never wants you to see him, and I believe that narcissism is demonic. And whatever they show you is what they want you to believe, and they don't want you to discover nothing about what they're doing. Because once you discover, then you have power to make decisions. You have power to maneuver around them. You're no longer blinded by the severe abuse that they push on people. See, a lot of people don't take narcissism seriously. A lot of people don't really know about narcissism because it's not physical. See, people, they take heed when it's physical. When they can see it, they say, okay, I see it, I feel it, this is it. But on the spiritual level, they don't know. It's like, a lot of people are not spiritual. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it all the way 1,000 with you. They're not. They're very physical. They're mundane. It's all about whatever. But see, when you approach it on the physical level, it's a lot of scars. It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of severe abuse that a lot of people don't see. So they don't see the wounds. They don't see the scars. They don't see the pain. They don't see the depression. And this is why I put that video up. Hopefully you can listen to it with headphones because it's fast. You got to be focused. But what that man is going through is what I'm explaining to you right now. How the pain is so heavy, is so deep, that I believe he ended up in the hospital twice. And he said that he doesn't really want to live, even though he's surrounded by life. He just doesn't want to continue. Because the spiritual energy is so abusive and it's so toxic and it's so heavy that it's like he feels like he can't cope. And, you try to point the pain out, but it keeps escaping your hands. And you don't know, you don't know how to deal with this. But let me go ahead and start talking about this narcissistic thing. See, look, it's showing here, okay? And I was surprised. See, a lot of the things that I'm finding out, I'm surprised. I'm like, for real? Shit, I didn't know that. I didn't even know. But statistics shows that women narcissists are highly likely to have a whole lot of children. At least compared to everyone else. See, but this is one side of it. We'll talk about the other side. So sometimes women narcissists have a whole lot of babies. Okay. And they're notorious cheaters who will be having sex with you and other men during the honeymoon stage. And that's the honeymoon stage means the beginning, when y'all just got hooked up and everything should be fly and smooth. And you thinking you rocking her world, and you're not, because a whole bunch of other niggas is, or a whole bunch of other men, and they rocking her too. And you're not the only one. You're not the only guy in town who's rocking her. And, if you're dealing with a woman who is like this, and you're not using protection, the chances of pregnancy is high. Okay? And unfortunately, when you're dealing with a woman narcissist, just like the what I just explained about the man being caught up with the woman who was already pregnant, and even in that video, that woman narcissist video that I posted on the channel, even in that video, Ivania, she said that when she got with her husband, she was already pregnant. But she wasn't like a couple of weeks pregnant, like 2 months pregnant. You know, like when you're pregnant in the beginning, you can kind of hide it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and if nobody knows, see, spirituality is deep. Because just like I was explaining when I had saw like a woman ghost at my local supermarket, and I was seeing her often. And I believe the reason why I saw her often, because consciously it didn't register in my mind that she was gone. So I was still able to see her spirit. I was still able to feel that vibration, because consciously I wasn't aware that she was gone. But once I became conscious, see, this is what I'm talking about by narcissism. Once you become conscious of this energy, you could see it for what it is. And you can approach it in different ways. You no longer are trapped up and fucked up behind the energy. But going back to the woman, once I found out that she was gone, consciously I registered that in my mind. And I became aware, and I no longer saw that energy. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. See, when you're pregnant, see, I'm not going to even get into it right now, but, hopefully people are mature listening to me. But when a woman is pregnant, she could be far in her pregnancy. And I know that for true, because I've actually been through a situation like that where, you could be really far in your pregnancy. You could be like 6 months pregnant and nobody would know, because nobody's conscious. Okay? And you can hide the pregnancy because consciously you're not making yourself aware. Nobody else is aware, so nobody is able to consciously see that you're with child. So sometimes, these narcissistic women, they can be already pre-pregnant. And then they get with you, and then, they're blaming you for a child, and then you're feeling her, you're spiritually bonded, you're trapped, this is karmic. You had sex with her unprotected. You're releasing yourself. You know that there's chances of pregnancy. But you feel deep down inside that's not your baby. And she knows it too. But a narcissistic woman is looking to blame a man. She's looking to trap a man. And even though she knows, because she knows she was pregnant before she met you, and even though because you felt like she was pregnant before you got with her, but, you're accepting because you believe it, you're spiritually bonded, you're fucked up, you're caught up. You want a paternity test, but you feel guilty because she gives you hell whenever you bring it up, and then she may say, you don't trust me. And before you know it, the baby's delivered, the baby's weeks, months, years old, and out of guilt. You never have the strength again to fight through the spirit to get a damn paternity test. But if you're dealing with a narcissistic woman, excuse my French, but you're just going to have to ignore the bitch and get the test done, period. Because most likely, if you're dealing with a true narcissist, a bona fide narc, and she gets around like flyers, the baby might not be yours. But you have to carry the spiritual luggage around, because there's some type of karmic lesson out of this. So that's one side of narcissism in pregnancy. Now, there's another side of narcissistic women in pregnancy. We're going to talk about it. The other side, which I was surprised. I didn't even know this. The other side is multiple abortions. And, abortions is nothing to take lightly. Because having such procedures done multiple times, it can't be good for you. It can't be good for your body. And, there's women out there that have multiple abortions. And, narcissistic women, unfortunately, they do. And when you're going through such procedures, it's traumatic. It's a traumatic experience that's mentally, spiritually, and emotionally damaging. And if you're pregnant by men that you don't really know like that, you don't even know their last name, that puts something on your energy. That fucks you up mentally. But when you're dealing with a narcissistic woman, even though that's not the situation where she's caught up and she's pregnant, she's having sex with all these men, but she has to have an abortion because she don't really know who the daddy is. That's one thing. But if you are married, this is something that I discovered. I didn't know this. If you are married to a narcissistic woman and you're her husband, a narcissistic woman would even abort her own husband's baby. Even when the husband is begging for a baby, she will sneaky go out and have an abortion. And the reason for that is because narcissistic women lack empathy. They may even brag about being pregnant by famous men and aborting it because of whatever reason. So if you're married to a narcissistic woman, you may even experience that you can't even have children with these women. But you know what? It has nothing to do with narcissism. I actually saw what the problem was within astrology. And, the truth is, guys, the truth is some women just don't want to have kids, just like some men just don't want to have kids. But unfortunately, when you have sex and it's unprotected, things connect, life is created, and then you have a choice either you're going to keep it or get rid of it. And then, if you keep it and you know that you're not really compatible with this woman, but you have a child that you have to raise with her for 18 years. If not, you're responsible financially for the child. And if you don't fucking give her the money, you're going to end up in jail. You're going to be on child support. You're going to be in debt. You ain't going to have no passport. You ain't going to have no driver's license. You're going to be working under the table. You're going to be fucked up in the game because you got hooked up and you had a baby by somebody who you astrologically shouldn't have ever fucking been with from the getty up. That's the truth. Because you really don't want to have kids and she's not really fit to be, a mama like that. It's in the astrology report. That's a fact. And this is something I didn't even know until recently when I started digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And then I saw and I said, okay, this is why this is like that. And this is why this is like that. So, seduction, is a part of the game when you're dealing with a female narcissist. And you know what I found out too? I found out that female narcissists are actually more dangerous. See, everybody complains about the male narcissist, but female narcissists are actually more dangerous than male narcissists. And that was another discovery that I discovered when I was doing when I was on the, doing the dating website research, and, I had to do some statistics and all that. I even found out that women on dating websites are even more dangerous than the average woman. Okay. If you're dealing with a narcissistic woman, they're generally going to be accusing you of cheating, which is the first warning sign that, there's something going on. Most female narcissists, they're passive aggressive. They live in this invisible world where, let me tell you something about another thing that narcissistic women do is that they like to give you the silent treatment. Okay? They love giving you the silent treatment. And that's a way to punish you. Okay? They don't talk to you. And that's their favorite punishment because it requires no energy and it's so effective when, you're talking to this woman and then all of a sudden she cuts you off. She don't want to talk to you no more. And then, you're walking around this fucking human snake and you're like, there's no words. She's not saying anything to you. She's barely walking next to you. Everything is silent. That's how she fucks you up. A lot of narcissistic people love to give the silent treatment. That's their best weapon. Especially, that's psychological too, because, if somebody's giving you the silent treatment, they're not talking to you, and you don't really understand what you did wrong that they are acting like this, that fucks with your mind. And if you're a husband and you're a boyfriend, they can ghost you. And they can ghost you and the kids. And everything that you do will be your fault. Even while she left you and their kids, and she discarded you and she abandoned you to find another supply, that will even be your fault. And her excuse is because she felt like a caged animal and she wanted to run away. And that's what a lot of selfish people do. You know, they like to disappear and they're no longer have anything to do with you because, you know, for whatever reason they felt caged, they felt locked up. So they discard you and the kids and they're gone. I know many men like that. I even know a man who went through that. And he was discarded. And he was left with the kids even though he had to work. He was left with the kids, and he, you know, I remember he was worried. He was looking around to see, you know, what available women was in the neighborhood who could watch his kids while he go to work, because his wife had left. And she went on a journey with another man. He couldn't find her. But even after she went on a journey, came back with a disease. See, if you get hooked up with a narcissist, you got to get tested. You got to protect yourself, because these people get around and they will bring you back an infection. And even though she went out on the lam and she, you know, came back with an infection, he took her back. And, you know, a lot of people blamed him. A lot of people put down on him. But I know that he took her back, because when you're with a narcissist, it's like playing chess with a champion. You've never played this game before. And you will never win mentally. Because narcissistic women are too well versed at lying. They're confused. They have a lot of chaos and manipulation. And they're cunning. And they're good at what they do. And if you keep fucking around with this energy, you will feel like you have lost your mind and you've gone mad when they're finished with you. Okay? They will totally throw you under the bus. And, you know, like I said, they're all about damaging and destroying people. So it will be your fault. And even though, you know, this woman came back with a disease, he still took her back. Because when you're spiritually bonded with somebody, it's hard to break that bond. So, you know, when you're dealing with a narcissist, the truth is, you know, you can't rule out them using the police, the courts, friends, family, and even your own kids to turn against you as weapons. They need to prove to everyone that you're wrong, and they had to move on. So you have to protect yourself when you're dealing with a narcissist, because if you don't, they'll use certain tools to destroy you. You know, they also use social media too to destroy people. They love to exploit. They love to put people on blast on social media, narcissistic women. Because they have to do it. Because if they put out you first, you know what I mean? Then, you know, they'll have a little bit of leverage on their hand. So, you know, most narcissistic women, I'm just going to go ahead and keep it real, that, you know, a lot of them are obsessed with how they look. So you'll find that a lot of narcissistic women have plastic surgeries. So these are the women that are going to get cut and sliced, tucked and tight, because they need that in order to exploit others, manipulate others, and they lack empathy. And when you lack empathy, you have no feelings. So getting cut and sliced and tucked, it probably won't hurt her because she's so null and void inside. A narcissistic woman will destroy every aspect of you because that's their goal. They're unstable. They're not about building people up. So if you're a man and you're caught up in the spiritual bondage and you're wondering, why can't I rise? Why can't I build? Why is everything such a battle? It's because narcissists do not want you to look better than them. They don't want you to be better than them. If you're down, then they're up. If you're destroyed, then they win. They're not about building. They're not. They're just not. And I know that for a fact because I have friends. I have females. I know what's up. I talk to women who are successful at destroying men. They're equipped from childhood on how to protect themselves and defend themselves, and how they need to lie, manipulate, and cheat, and be heartless and soulless through consciousness to destroy others. This is a fact. I think I talked enough. I think, this was difficult for me to talk about. I mean, I really don't really like talking about, the women problems, because I'm a woman myself, and I'm connected, with this energy. I'm connected with women. I'm here as a woman. And it's like, when I listen to certain shows and I hear men going off on women and they're guiding men to destroy every woman that they come across, because unfortunately they may have came across a narcissistic woman themselves, and they're now, due to the damage that was done to them psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially, they are so torn down spiritually that they're preparing every man to be on guard against every woman because they came across a narcissistic woman. Let me tell you something. Not every woman's a narcissist. They're not. But I can tell you one thing's for sure. That if you're into astrology, okay, or if you're interested in going into astrology, and you look at certain aspects in certain women's charts, especially in numerology, see, I got the breakdown of certain things that I'm not going to ever talk about on this show. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep that to myself. And there's a reason for that. Okay, because I know that there's a lot of people that's subscribing to my channel right now. They're subscribing under troll accounts. Okay, they're subscribing because they have bad intentions. I know this. So there's certain things that I will never discuss on this show because it's not worth it. But I can tell you for sure that I'm glad that I went through the study. And I can tell you for sure that there's certain life path numbers out there that if they're on the dark side, there's certain moon signs, there's certain sun signs, there's certain Mars signs, there's certain Venus signs. Saturn, Uranus, Mercury. We can go on and on and on and on. There's certain aspects within the chart that points out to narcissism. And it has a narcissistic energy about it. And if you get caught up with somebody who's not on the level, who's not on your vibration, who's not about building you up, who's there just to destroy you and put you down because you have to be down in order for them to be up, you will be destroyed and you will not be protected. So I'm just so shocked that, so many people are getting married, so many people are getting hooked up, so many people are having babies, so many people are getting into these relationships, and you don't even know what you're getting into, man. You don't even know, you're not fucking doing the work, man. You're not doing the work, you're doing it. You're going through it over feeling, you're going through it over lust, you're going through it because of what you want, not because of what's there, not because of what you see, not because of what's real. You're going, it's just so much, man. So much. But I've been talking long enough, and I thank you for listening. Hopefully I don't have to revisit this again. Hopefully I don't even have to talk about women narcissists anymore. This is a horrible subject. I don't like narcissistic people. I don't, because they are about destroying people, humiliating people, hurting people, and they don't want to see anybody rise, and that's fucked up. But I believe it's karmic. Anyway, I'm out. Thank you for listening.